Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. It's Sonia Verardo here from Trench Collection Fashion and Beauty blog. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about my pregnancy and my whole experience, my whole journey so far. And most importantly, I would like to address my personal experience of becoming a future mom-to-be from child-free by choice. I want to share this experience with you because I find it can interest a lot of women like myself who are going through similar fears, anxiety and emotions, and maybe who have been struggling with this decision of having kids or not having kids throughout all their lives. I got very positive feedback from you guys concerning my pregnancy vlogs and sharing my whole pregnancy journey with you, and I'm very thankful for all your kind comments and words of support. It really means a lot to me, and I can't imagine being anything else with you but honest and sharing honestly all my fears and doubts and worries and happy moments and all my progress that hopefully I'm making day by day in this journey. Also, I'm sharing it so truthfully and so honestly because I feel it can really help somebody who is in similar or same situation as I am. I used to think I am quite alone in this, dealing with these issues, but then I got such an overwhelming response from you guys, and I noticed there are a lot more women out there like having the same fears and doubts than you would think. So I'm really happy if I can just reach out to you and say that you are not alone and just share with you my experience. So basically on YouTube there are a lot of like documentaries and a lot of YouTube videos just telling life stories of people who decided, women who decided to be child-free, like child-free by choice. Well, not only women but men as well, because some men also decide these things. But I think for women is a more delicate subject because after a certain age you know that nature will decide for you. If you never make this decision, nature will make this decision for you, and after a certain age if you regret your decision, there is really nothing that you can do to become a mom except for adoption. But even then, especially here in Italy, can be, I think, quite tricky because if you are older, I don't even know if they will consider you for adoptive parent. Anyway, let's put this thing aside for a moment. I did watch a lot of documentaries concerning child-free by choice because I myself felt I am a part of this group of women that are declaring themselves child-free by choice. And usually when I hear a story of a 20-year-old or 25-year-old saying they are child-free by choice, I just, with all due respect, I just don't take it so seriously, because at 20 years of age or 25 you're really so young and you still have a lot of experiences to live and a lot of things to learn about life and a lot of things to go through, and you mature, like with every year hopefully you mature, and a lot of things may still change in your mind, when I hear stories of women that are over 30, over 35, heading into their 40s or in their 40s, then I do consider them child-free by choice, and I take their stories and their life experiences a little bit more seriously. Now, I myself was about to turn 35, yes, so I did consider myself to be child-free by choice, also because throughout all my life, basically I knew I don't want to have children. I never felt any attraction towards children. I never felt like my heart was melting when I saw a kid nearby. I just thought of them as a big hassle and so much work to do, and just a whole entire world that was so far away from my world. This is just how I was perceiving kids. I don't know, I'm sorry to say that, but it's just how I was honestly perceiving them. So I was never attracted to the idea of having kids, and even when I was like at really young age, I was like 8 years old probably, and we went to visit our relatives, and the woman in that family just had a baby, and I remember quite vividly she gave me this newborn to hold, you know, and just to see her newborn kid, and I was like, no, just stay away from me, I don't want to hold your baby. And I was 8 years old, and everybody was looking at me and like asking themselves, what's wrong with her, why doesn't she want to relate to the baby, why doesn't she want to hold it for a moment. So that was like the very first time when I realized that I just don't like babies or kids. Growing up, this decision became even stronger, especially when I was in high school. I was like, no way am I ever going to have kids. It seems so difficult to have kids, but I was also very, very worried about childbirth and just dealing with the pain. I don't have high pain tolerance, and luckily in my life I never had to experience any serious physical pain so far. I was very, very fortunate and very lucky, so I was just very scared of that. But I also want to mention one thing, that if I had this desire to become a mom one day, there wouldn't be a fear that would be able to stop me from realizing that decision of mine, you know, from going for it and making it happen. Because I always do believe that you have to try to fight your fears, no matter how hard it is, because I personally know how hard it is to fight your fears. Like they are like your demons in your head, and it's very difficult to fight them. Sometimes if you don't fight them, what's the point of living? You know, are you really living your life? Are you really going for it? Because you only have one life to live, and if you surround yourself with fear and if you give yourself into the fear, it's just not going to be a happy life. It's not going to be the life that you wanted to have, and it's not going to be a realization of your life. So that's why I always have in mind, if I really want something, I won't let the fear stop me. So I did have this huge, enormous fear, but that wasn't stopping me from having kids. I hope I'm making this clear. So I didn't want to have kids, plus I had all these awful fears that were just contributing to my decision of not having kids at all. When I first fell in love, I think I was like 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. For that brief, like fleeting moment, I felt I could have his child, you know, in the future. But that boy really broke my heart and shredded it into pieces. So that story really did not end well, and I suffered a lot. And since that, I never really felt any desire or a wish to have kids again. I always just felt as if there's something, you know, something to worry about, something to just squeeze in your already hectic daily schedule, something that is going to suck up all your life energy from you. This is how I was thinking, and I was really convinced. Yeah, I was truly convinced in that. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad way of thinking, I'm just being honest. If you feel the same way, that's okay, that's fine, because I think it's better that you are honest with yourself before, you know, actually regretting bringing a child in this world and then realizing that you made a terrible mistake, like Brigitte Bardot did. I saw her documentary, and she said that in that point of her life she did not supposed to have a child, and maybe even ever. So she kind of regretted that decision, and now she doesn't even have a nice relationship with her son, and that's very, very sad. So it's better if you're just truthful and honest with yourself. After hitting my mid-20s and after getting married, for many, many years I was on a research of myself and questioning my choices, trying to understand and realize if I'm making the right decision by not having kids ever. When I was still like 26, 27, 28 years old, I was still thinking, but I have plenty of time still to decide. I'm still young, I'm still in my 20s, you know. I don't want to have kids, at least not now. Maybe in 10 years we will see what happens. But this desire never really, you know, came. I never woke up with this urge and desire, oh, I really want to have kid today. Like, no, this just wasn't happening. This change slowly started to happen when I hit my 30s, because it's true, like your biological clock starts ticking and you realize that the time is passing, but I was still quite convinced that kids aren't for me. When my father died suddenly, it was me, you know, me and my hubby who found him. I was shocked. But the only thing that that kept me going and that gave me, you know, strength to go through these difficult moments of my life, besides my hubby's support, was the fact that I knew that my father left something behind. And it's not the house that he built or materialistic things that he left me, but it's me, you know, he left his child. So in a way, I knew that my father goes on living inside of me, because I am his creation, half my mom's creation. So that was something so comforting for me, you know, knowing that he created a life behind himself, that he actually keeps living. And in that very moment, I started realizing that maybe one day, just maybe, I'm going to be ready to have a child. But I was 31 years old then, and I still wasn't ready to actually, you know, jump, to take that plunge and to have a child. I was still not ready to do that. I was like, okay, on the piece of paper, everything makes sense, but feeling the way I feel, I know that I'm not ready. I don't feel it inside of myself, you know. And this year actually started badly for me and for my family. My grandmother risked dying more than once. She went in hospital on and off, and I was super stressed out, traveling back and forth from Croatia to Italy. I already told you guys this. And in that moment when my grandmother was lying and in the hospital bed, and the doctor told us that maybe it's time to say our final words to her, I was crushed, because my grandmother actually brought me up, you know, she raised me. I lived with her throughout many years of my life. So I always loved her so deeply, and I always consider her like my second mother. So I was like thinking, oh my God, when did this time pass? And I started realizing that we all have this limited amount of time on this planet, you know, and that we better make it worth, you know, we better make it worth this life that we are living. And that sometimes you're so caught up in the moment, doing your own thing, you know, living your own life, and your whole youth just passes by you, and you suddenly realize that you are over 40, over 50, and that nature has decided some things for you that you just cannot give life anymore. And what if I regret it? That was the thought that started going in my head. What if I wake up 50 years old, child-free by choice, my choice and nature's choice now, and I seriously regret it? Will I be a miserable person? Will I find the will and the strength to go on? What is going to be my daily motivation to go on? So I guess this is how my will to have kids slowly started presenting itself, I guess. I don't say that it's the same thing for all child-free by choice. By no means. This is just my personal story, because I know my colleagues from work, I know other women who are over 50, child-free by choice, and never regretted their decision. They live very fulfilled life, filled with friends. They're socializing, they have nice jobs, and they're traveling the world. They have loads of hobbies, and they just don't really like kids, and they never saw themselves as parents. So that's fine, I'm not judging them. I never would allow myself to even think that they are doing something wrong, you know. No, because even myself, I was that same person just a couple of months back. So, you know, I do understand their decision. I do understand where they are coming from. I'm just trying to explain my choice, what clicked, and what was that factor that made me become a completely different person. And this did not happen overnight, obviously. There were some other factors that contributed, such as the fact that when I was younger, when I was 19, when I was 20, I also made some decisions that I was convinced of that I would never ever in my life regret them. And now that I'm 35, I regret them, and I say to myself, it would have been better if you just did like that, you know. But at 19, I was like super convinced that I would never ever regret my decision, that I'm making 100% right decision for myself. So, you know, things change, life changes, life teaches you things, life brings you certain situations that you just change your decisions. They don't have to be decisions for your life. You know what I mean? So, child-free by choice no more. I decided even to listen the advice of my gynecologist, who told me that now it's like the right moment to make that decision, because I'm about to celebrate my 35th birthday. So, you know, after 35, statistically, you can have much more problems during your pregnancy. They also send you to do numerous different tests, but I decided not to do them, just, you know, the basic ones that are necessary, because I want to live this experience as a natural experience. I want to like deep breathe and just be relaxed and don't stress out about every single statistic there is out there, because sometimes doctors are trying to like fill your head with all these statistics and all these information that sometimes can be quite stressful. So I'm just trying to live day by day, take deep breaths, and just if I am healthy today, if my child is healthy today, then I have a reason to be happy and to be grateful. As you guys know, first trimester wasn't so easy for me. This change did not happen overnight, in terms that it wasn't exactly that when I found out I was pregnant, I was a happy future mom to be, you know. I was still quite child-free by choice in my mind, but I was pregnant, and it was quite difficult for me to just deal with all these body changes that were happening inside of me, my body growing. I could not visualize myself with like a belly, like with a huge bump, and I was like, what's appealing in that, you know? What's the charm of having this huge bump on you? You know, it's just something that's uncomfortable, and it can cause you so many like physical problems, and I was just not getting it at all. I was super anxious about, you know, having to go through certain exams, about what may happen, what if things go wrong. Other than that, I was also very concerned for my child. So even though I still wasn't accepting fully the fact that I am going to become a mom, I wasn't even interested in shopping for the baby or anything like that. I was like, I'm just going to let my hubby deal with that. But I was still very, you know, preoccupied about this pregnancy, and I wanted it to proceed. So I did have some contrasting thoughts in my head. and I was just generally very confused. What happened was I started to notice this change, this emotional change in me, slowly, slowly arriving, and it was in my second trimester that I started getting more connected with the baby, especially when I felt the baby kicking inside of me. Like it wasn't an alien anymore, as I used to call it, but it was like a human being that I created with my hubby that's now alive and growing inside of me. So that was very emotional thing to experience, and I started being much calmer and much more positive, and I started thinking that I am not alone in all this. I mean, there is my hubby, but also there is my child, so we are together. Like, I'm not alone going through this. We are going through this together. So that's something very comforting to me, and something also very strange, because I never thought I'm actually going to experience these things and feel this way, just so not me. Also, I don't really mind my bump growing. Actually, I am quite excited to purchase like maternity clothes that kind of accentuate your bump and all, which is also very strange for me, because I used to be very private about my pregnancy and I didn't want to accentuate my bump or anything like that. So those were like slight changes that started happening from my 21st week on. It may be because of the supplements that I started taking in my second trimester, because in my first trimester I only took acid folic, and now I have other supplements prescribed that contain acid folic, but all sorts of other ingredients, vitamins and whatnot, probiotics that are supposed to even help out not to develop postnatal depression. So I feel maybe it's working even right now. Maybe all these vitamins and all these ingredients are kind of contributing to balance the like chemical part in my brain, because we all know that these anxiety and depression and whatnot are like disbalance of your chemical stuff in your brain. I mean, that's so not the professional term, but pardon me, I'm speaking in a foreign language, so probably you get what I mean. One other thing that I think is very important when talking about child-free is that I noticed that there is like a conflict between child-free by choice and parents. Basically, child-free by choice, not all, but most of them declare themselves as selfless, because they are renouncing having a child, bringing a child in this world where there is already overpopulation and there are wars going on, and it's just not a healthy and happy environment to raise a child in. And they accuse parents to be actually selfish because they want to have kids to rely on, to to just experience this joy and just for their personal satisfaction. Whereas parents claim the same thing about child-free by choice. They say they are very selfish because they are just so self-consumed, and that they actually feel that selfless thing to do is to bring a child to this world, because you have to like give yourself to the child, because you just live for somebody else then, it's not all about you anymore. And I cannot say that I give right to one or the other group. I don't say that child-free by choice are right. I don't say that parents are right. I just cannot make this decision. And I feel we don't need to look at these people as groups, but we need to look at them as individuals. Because it's true that there are child-free by choice who are selfless by deciding not to have kids. But it's also true that there are child-free by choice that are selfish for not having kids. And the same thing applies for parents. There are selfish parents who decide to have kids for selfish motives, and then there are selfless parents who decide to have kids for very selfless motives, and I think we can all agree about that. So my personal story was that I consider myself to be very selfish for being child-free, and I hope I won't get judged for saying that, because I was always very open about it. I didn't have problem saying, you know, my true feelings, how they were. I was like, I'm not having kids, not because there is overpopulation on this planet. I don't even care about that. I mean, it sounds bad, I know it sounds bad, but if I really wanted to have kids, I wouldn't like sit in my bed thinking, oh, I really want to have a child, but there is overpopulation in this world and there are so many wars. It's better if I don't bring this poor child in this horrible world, This never even crossed my mind. I never wanted to have kids because I was like, kids are so much a hassle, why should I have a kid that will suck all my life energy out of me? I prefer to do shopping, to have my makeup done, my nails done, to just be self-centered and just enjoy my little daily rituals of beauty and whatnot. So, sorry guys, but this is like brutally honest. This is what I was thinking. And I don't think I'm a bad person for having these thoughts, because I know there are other people who feel the same way. I mean, we are all humans. I think it's only natural to feel these things. But also, I realized that when I hit my 40s, when I hit my 50s, maybe, doing my hair, having my nails done and having this perfect makeup and going shopping for latest trends won't be like the center of my life, won't be what makes me happy and what's like the purpose of my life, what's the real purpose of my life? Is it just taking care of myself and going shopping? So maybe these things won't fulfill me anymore. This is what I realized after years of thinking when I was about to hit my 35th birthday, and also because of these things that happened in my life concerning my family and losing my dear ones. So it's the honest truth that I share with you today. I hope you can understand it. Some of you may relate to what I'm saying, some may not. Some may think I'm a horrible person, some may think I'm courageous for speaking so openly, opening my heart and my most private emotions with you. Because here, especially on the internet, we all try to appear perfect and just flawless and happy and no fears, no anxiety, no anything, and just like role models. But when you scratch the surface, you realize that even your biggest role model, that perfect person, is human, and even that person has some negative thoughts, negative emotions, has some selfish thoughts. But I guess at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you live your life in a way that you don't harm other people, and that you are happy with the life that you're living, that looking back at your life you don't have regrets, that one day you know that you have fulfilled your life because you have lived your life. So yeah, that's the most important thing, and I hope this video managed to inspire you to live your life that way. I'm sorry if it was so long. I thank you if you managed to stay with me until the end. It means that I really had something interesting to say. If you want to share your thoughts, your opinions, your personal experience with me, leave me your comments. I would love to know where are you coming from and what's your opinion on the subjects that I touched. I don't mind if it's something totally different from what I said. Your opinions here are welcome, even if they are totally different than mine. Okay guys, now I'm sending you a huge kiss from Italy, and I will talk to you soon in my next video. Ciao!